Out in the rain, so is it better to be here? No? Yes, yes, you're happy to be here. Okay. So if you're happy and you know it, what do we do? Hands, that's right. If you're happy and you know it, what you do? Yes, that's better. So, I'd like to welcome you all to Shimsha at LABAF. It's actually the first time we are doing it at LABAF, so a round of applause to German for inviting us this evening. The Shimsha is an Irish storytelling tradition. And what that means is that it's not just us on stage who tell the stories, it's participatory. Okay, let me say that again. It's what? What does that mean? We're all going to tell the stories, yes. Yes, so before we start, I'm going to ask Ambassador Peter Ryan. He's been the ambassador of Ireland in Nigeria since 2003. And he, as German has said, he really, really believes in the culture of Ireland. And as we'll hear in the evening, it's the similarities between both cultures that are intriguing to explore. But first of all, Ambassador, over to you.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. It never rains in Ireland, so we're not used to this weather. I like my four favorite words in Nigerian English: standing on existing protocol. But I would like to add that my thanks to Jaman and my congratulations to him and his group for pulling together. I have great admiration for people who fly the flag in this country, because it's not easy, is it? It's not easy. It's hard to get out of the house, never mind to come in and do something, and never mind to put something on that's so important for people to have access to share and to spend time with each other. We have a lovely saying in the Irish language. We say, "An tail atá siúlach, bíonn sé scéalach." And that means the person who walks has great stories. So much so that when you come to Ireland, has anybody been to Ireland before? Anybody in the room? 1, 2, 3? No? That's your phone. You're putting your phone up. That doesn't count. So 3 people here have been to Ireland. 4, 5 people here have been to Ireland. Where I live in Ireland, they don't say hello. When they see you on the street, they don't say hello. Do you know what they say? They say, "What's the story?" What's the story? They nod their head. What's the story? What's the story? And your reply is, "How are you? How are you?" So people say, "What's the story?" because they want to hear your story for the day. It's kind of nice, isn't it? Someone comes into your house, you want to hear the story, don't you? You switch off the television, you switch off the radio, and you want to hear what's happened to them in the last day or two. What news do they have? Because that's the way that news is conveyed to other people, isn't it? If you watch something on the news or you watch it on your phone, do you remember it? You do? Really? Well, then we'll switch places, will we? If somebody tells you face to face and they make it applicable to you in your home place, you don't forget it in a hurry, do you? No, you remember the stories that your parents told you, don't you? Does everybody remember all the stories their parents told them? Really? You don't remember any of them? Some of them. Does anybody else remember them? Did you learn those stories in the English language or in your own language? In your own language. So you remember them in your own language. So you don't remember them in the English language. How many generations of your people do you think have passed down those stories to you? How many? How many would you say? 1 or 2 generations? 10 generations? What would you say? Maybe hundreds of generations. So when a story is being passed down to you in your own language, it's pretty special, isn't it? Yes. She says, "You know, I spend a lot of my time visiting schools in Ireland." So I said, "Oh, so what do you do when you visit schools? Are you an inspector? Are you a teacher?" No, she says. "Is Shanachie me? I'm a storyteller." Oh, well, hello. Now we're talking. is Shanachie to? The Shanachie is a person in Ireland, in Irish tradition, for hundreds and hundreds of years, who tells stories orally in the memory bank. And she tells stories to explain the place where we are, explain the place that we came from, and explains why we feel the way we do, why animals do things the way we do. Does it sound familiar? Why people behave the way they do, the importance of a mother's love, the love for the place we're from. Even though we're far away, we're just thinking about the plan. So I said, oh my God, we got to do something together. So I invited her up to my house. As soon as the regulations relaxed a little, I invited her up to my house, and I invited 20 Maori indigenous leaders from New Zealand. And their whole culture, like yours, is based on oral storytelling. And they have a chanter. The chanter enters, he puts his feet on the ground, and he says, this is who I am. He says, my mountain is that mountain. The river is the Niger River. My father was Joseph. My mother was Mary. He gives you his family history, and he recites it in song. Boom. And then he steps back, and he waits for you to do it. So you do it to him. So this lady said to me, what type of story do you want me to tell? And I said, what sort of story do you like to tell? And she said, I've got hundreds of stories. One very elegant brain, hundreds of stories. So I said, give me an example of the length of them. She said, I have a story that lasts 3 days. I could write down to a story that lasts 15 minutes for her granddaughter. Which one would you like? I said, well, let's go closer to the 15-minute one, and we'll see what happens. And she sat beside the fire in my house, and she told a story. And she explained in a story of why and how Ireland, the first humans had come to Ireland. And she explained it, and she spoke for maybe 20 minutes, and she went from the Irish language into the English language, and back to the Irish language, and back into the English language, and then she finished. And then one of the Maori chiefs stepped out from his side of the room, and he told the story of how New Zealand was born, and how to imagine, almost an identical story on the other side of the world, where you cannot get any further from one place to the other. You can't get any further. They don't look like us. They don't talk like us. They have different belief systems than we. But guess what? The stories are almost identical. So that was the thing that reinforced in my mind, we need to find more chances to tell each other stories and hear each other's stories. Because guess what? We're going to find things that we can learn from each other, and we're going to find things that we can share with each other. And I don't know about you, but I'm a bit fed up looking at television at the moment and switching on the radio and listening to all the conflict that supposedly is going on amongst people. And I'm a bit fed up with all these middle-aged men in the world, people of my age, who are causing all this trouble in the world. And I want to get back to a time where we put value on the stories of our parents and our ancestors, where we place value on the wisdom that they have, and where we share that in a loving way and in a learning way with our neighbours and our friends. And every day that I come to events like this, whether it's in Abuja with a Duque, whether it's down in Accra, wherever we might be going to them, it always redoubles my own personal determination that I'm not going to contribute to all of that mess that we're looking at out in the world. The bit that we can control is in our own little lives, and one of the things we can do is place a value on the treasures that our ancestors have passed to us. We can make sure that they're passed on, and we can make sure that they're not lost, because our ancestors passed them on to us for a reason. It's not just some random thing that's passed to us. And if we don't pass it on, who is going to pass it on? And we've never had a greater time to share that than with the devices we have in our pockets. And most of us are busy sending little tiny texts to people instead of using this machine to get our stories out far and wide. So I want to salute the guys in LABAF again. I want to say how important the storytelling is. I'm looking forward to hear a story or two, and I know that you're very good at calling on people to tell a story. Do I have to sit here, or can I sit there?
You can sit down, Ambassador. You can sit there. Okay, so, don't your phone? Okay, so I'm going to start off, okay, with an example, I think, of how similar Nigeria and Ireland are, okay? And this is something that happened to me, okay? And why I like this example is because it shows the humanity of people. Okay, so about 3 years ago, I was invited to an event in Abeokuta. Obviously, I live in Lagos. And it was an event where you had to wear full Iran Buba and tie gele and all of that. So I had my ashoke and that was all set. We arrived in the morning with the plan that you book into the hotel room and you change. Yeah? Is this a good plan? Okay. We did. We arrived, checked in, changed out of my jeans, wore my beautiful lace, wore my beautiful soyon, but problem. What's my problem? Gele. So I had looked at the YouTube, okay? Okay. We know now, don't be shy, I'd looked at the YouTube. But you know, sometimes it doesn't always work. So after I had stood in front of the mirror and the YouTube for like 20 minutes, I said, okay, this is not going to work. And the party was in full gear, and I could tell because I was like 2 or 3 floors above, and I could hear the party from the event hall. I was like, hey, God. Meanwhile, I'm up here trying to tie gele. So I go downstairs I remember it's Abeokuta, I don't know anybody there, to meet the receptionist. I say, auntie, please, do you know anybody who can tie gele? She says, I don't know anybody, and everybody is busy, you know, it's Saturday. I said, see, I don't care what you tie. You have to tie this on my head. Now, see everybody going to the party. She looked at me, I looked at her, I must have looked pathetic. She said, hey, okay, come. And we go into the ladies and she ties my head. I'm happy enough with it, and in the photos, I look okay. So I mean, nice, right? Customer service, yes. Friendly, yes. Kind. Okay. Fast forward to earlier this year, and I was in Ireland for an event. And again, I was wearing Iran Buba and gele. But I'd learned, so I had auto gele. For those who don't know, it's when the gele is tied and sewn, so you just put it on your head like a hat. So I mean, I've learned, because in Dublin, who's going to tie me? Who's going to help me in the reception? All right? Okay. So I'm all set. Yes? Okay. And I and my daughter were there, and the two of us are getting ready for the event. And she too is also in gele and the Buba, and she too has her own auto gele. So, sorry, why don't you move from here? Okay. So, now, anybody who knows me here well knows that me and time, we are not really friends, okay? So, my brother wasn't in the same hotel as us, okay? But I'd had a plan with him because we were all to meet downstairs at 3 o'clock, okay? Are you with me? Okay. What time are we meeting? 3 o'clock. But because I don't have a good relationship with time, but my brother does, At 2:30, the hotel phone rings. Bing, bing, bing. Hi, I'm here. How ready do you think we were? How ready do you think we were? Okay. So, now again, for those of us who don't know, my women will understand. We were wearing tops that have zips, okay, up the back. Now, the thing about these zips at the back is that they zip up like, the anorak coats, okay? So they open apart. So you have to put the zip bit into the little bit and then zip it up. I see everybody? Okay. So as opposed to just sort of like putting on something like this. So the plan was, I do up my daughters, she do up mine. Is this a good plan? Yes. Okay. At 2:30, 2:45, as I said, my brother phones. How ready are we? Not ready. I knew that my brother would be mad if I strolled down at 3, because the plan was to come early so we take photographs, right, for our event in our beautiful outfits. I said, I'm staying in an expensive hotel. I phoned up. I said, hello, ma'am. I said, please, I need somebody to come and zip my blouse. They said, sure. A few minutes later, bang, bang, bang. In comes Anne. My daughter and I are in complete déshabillé. Doesn't blink. Nice Irish girl, has never seen this contraption of outfits before. Talked her through it, told her how to do the zip. She did my zip, and I go down. Looking perfect and on time. I would never have made it if not for Anne's assistance. Good for Anne. I would probably still be in Abeokuta, still tying my head tie, if not for Kemi. Do you see the linkages between the people? Do you see that spirit of friendliness, helpfulness, and I would say an ability not to be shocked? Because you can imagine what Anne went and told the people at home. Guess what I did at work today? Zipping up people's clothes as though I'm a lady's maid. Kemi went home and said, we had one Oibo who came, she didn't know how to tie head tie. I'm the one that helped her. Yes. But kind of intersections, those kind of experiences give you when you can see both sides of both cultures. So I'm going to ask, would somebody like to share a story, or would you like me to read a poem? Okay, story, okay? And then we'll come back to you. Round of applause, all of you who sat down and didn't encourage her. There you go. Yes, but what are you reading, a story?
Yeah, story.
Okay, but
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Okay, so my story is titled, What My Fabric Carries. So just an introduction of the story. I'm a fashion designer, an actor, singer, and dancer, and I make fabric and sell fabrics too. So this is it. When I started selling fabric, I thought I was just running a business. At first, it was about sourcing the right patterns, negotiating at the market, Oshodi, Yaba, Eko, and others, making sure my customers liked what they saw. I was the girl with her backpack and big dreams, balancing between being polite and being assertive in markets that didn't always take young women seriously. But over time, I realized the fabrics I touched The Ankara, the Ashoke, the lace, the Adire weren't just products. They were containers of memories, textures of our lives. One day, while sourcing, a customer walked up to me and touched a soft print that I was holding with blue spirals. She said, this reminds me of what my grandmother wore when she danced at my naming ceremony. And just like that, a piece of cloth became a time machine, a portal. That moment changed how I saw my work. Now, when I go sourcing, I'm not just looking for what's trending. I'm looking for stories trapped in those fabrics. I'm chasing the weight of heritage, the scent of the past, and the possibility of softness in a city that often feels too hard. Being a fabric vendor in Lagos means navigating chaos, sun, sweat, street boys, and endless anti-alpha. But it also means being part of something sacred. I help women choose clothes for weddings, funerals, first birthdays, and businesses. I watch them wrap themselves in dreams. But in my quiet moments, I think, if Lagos was a woman, she would be a weaver, fierce, fashionable, and forever layered. And maybe I'm helping her stitch back herself together, one fabric at a time. Who knows?
What's your name?
Eniola.
Please, Eniola has done, oh, come on. That was actually beautiful. And I think it's a wonderful entry to, I'm going to share this poem. When Lagos decides to show you her beauty. When Lagos decides to show you her beauty, she lets the waters slip like a shawl down from around the shoulders of her islands and makes you wonder if indeed you are only here to count those bridges. She holds you fiercely with one hand, nails digging into your palm, swearing to never, ever let you go, while the other picks your pocket, strewing its contents to the winds. So you can only shrug and sigh at this new reason for tomorrow's hustle. You are heartsick when she turns her back, uncaring, tossing her head with its acquired plaits, revealing that dark underside of poverty and filth and noise and lost dreams. But waiting for your chance once more to dally in her sunshine, never forget that the drudgery of your daily existence promises the reward of her glorious transforming kiss. And now we have a person over here. Yes. Dele, give him a round of applause. He's tried. He's been with us in LABAF since morning. He is a visitor from the UK. So give him a round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you. So it was when Adike said about, intersections with people. I mean, one of the things that we intersect with quite a lot is family. And I recall an interesting intersection with my own family when I demonstrated to them that I was actually an accidental genius. It's England. It rains all the time. And my grandmother has a big garden, and therefore it collects a lot of leaves. I'm a little bit of a pyromaniac, and I like to set fire to the leaves. And she has a special leaf burning bin. It's like that, and it's sort of like an ice cream cone. It's got a lid, a special lid with a funnel so that the air can come in. And I'm there. My sister, my mother, and my grandmother are all in the kitchen getting lunch ready. Dele is outside doing his favorite activity, collecting things to burn. But of course, it's wet. And it's really hard. But I remember, because I am an accidental genius. So accidental genius thinks, yes, there's a lawnmower in the shed. And it's a cool lawnmower. It's a petrol lawnmower. And a petrol lawnmower uses... And what can you use to burn wet leaves? So I collect the petrol. I can see this man has worked out what might happen if you are an accidental genius, given a big jerry can of petrol, a load of leaves, and a bin with a lid. So I pour the petrol in. I give it a good soaking. I don't do things by halves. Okay, if we're going to have a fire, we are going to have a fire. Now this bin has a special lid, so you have to use it. So I put the lid on the bin. It's quite tight. It's quite tight. People who know physics and chemistry are already starting to understand what an accidental genius is doing. And then I lit the match, and I dropped it in, and I woke up on the floor. Because of course, that's how you make a bomb. The gases expand, the lid comes flying off, and the beauty is that my face, the dent of my face, is in the lid. And I'm just lucky that the funnel missed me, because who knows what would have gone. So, I'm there. I wake up, and I look around, and I think to myself, has anybody seen this? Did they notice the bang? What happened? I think, you know what? I'm going to play it cool. So I stroll in to the kitchen. Mother, sister, grandmother, they're there. They kind of look at me. I think nothing of it. I go and I sit down, and I start to watch the TV. After a while, my sister comes in, and she says, Dele, it's time to eat. I think you need to go and wash your hands. So I got up to go and wash my hands. And there's a sink and one of those bathroom cabinets, which is the first time I realized that my whole face is completely black with soot. And having strolled in, so cool and casual, they must have heard the explosion. Boom! Then a little while later, Dele comes staggering in, probably some smoke coming through my afro. I had an afro in those days. Total blackface going, yeah, nothing to see out there.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for who? The accidental genius. Okay. Yes. And now we have Poseidon himself. Poseidon, yeah. Greek woman, god of the sea.
Hi, my name's Stanley. So my mother was Irish and my father was Welsh, and I used to spend my summers, we used to go over on the boat train from Holyhead to Dunleary, and we'd spend the summers in Dublin. I was a North Sider. And so I would not speak with this accent, and indeed as a kid, when I was brought up in England, I didn't have this accent either, but in Ireland I'd have an Irish accent because otherwise you'd get twatted round the head. So I left school at 14. We were very, very poor, very poor. I was working from the age of 9, delivering newspapers, and I couldn't go to school at the age of 6 because I had no shoes. It was just a very poor family, 6 children, Irish Catholics, and we didn't have much money. My dad worked in a factory. So I went and served an apprenticeship, and that's where you are indentured to a company in a particular trade, and you learn the skills of the trade. And they used to send me off to a college 1 day a week, and I went to night college 4 evenings a week to learn English, drama, amateur dramatics, physics, geography, French, and I worked and worked and worked. And when I was serving my apprenticeship, when I was 15, they made me Apprentice of the Year. And it's just because I was a creep. I really was a creep, yeah? So the award for being Apprentice of the Year was that I got to serve for 3 weeks on a sailing ship. And it was run by an organisation called the Sail Training Association. And they had 2 ships. One was called the Malcolm Miller, and the other was called the Winston Churchill. And they were 3-masted schooners. So you would go and become a part of the crew. They had 2 diesel engines at the back, but they were sailing ships, huge sailing ships. So I got on a train at the age of 15, went down to Plymouth, got trained for 4 hours. They put a harness on me. I climbed up the rigging, And I went out onto the yardarm, and then it went out under diesel power out to sea, and I was standing on there petrified along with some of the other crew. And serving on the ship was the two heads of a company called John Lewis, 2 trainees of the year. There were the police cadets of the year from Liverpool and Uxbridge and various other places. And there were various Arab princes that had been sent there. But it was very basic and it was really tough. And to tell you how tough it was, I got there early, so I put my bag on a bunk bed that was at the side, and we had hammocks. And I then went to get my clothes. And when I got back, this guy had taken my bunk and shoved my clothes down on the bottom bunk. And I said, "That's mine." And he had something called a Scouse accent. He said, "No, it's mine." So in those days, I wasn't as gentle as I am now. So I got hold of him and explained to him that it was mine. And I knocked him on the floor, and then he had his friend with him, who was also a police cadet of the year from Manchester, and he said, "Pick me up." And as I picked him up, he head-butted me and knocked me unconscious. He literally knocked me out, right? So I woke up after, I don't know, and I said, "You can have the bunk. That's yours, you've won it," yeah? And we actually became good friends, and eventually the big lump on my head healed. Anyway, so I served on the ship, and you'd get up, if you were on 2 bells, you'd wake at 2 a.m. and serve till 4 a.m. on watch. And we went through a force 8, gusting 9, and a hurricane starts at 10. We lost the foresail and the mainsail, and we anchored off the side of an island called Alderney. And we had to hand the anchor, and I was one of the guys that handed it, and we'd anchored in sewage. I got covered in sewage, and they hosed me off. And it was very tough, and we lived the life, and it was character building. And it actually changed me, because I was working with people, and we had to work as a team. So I was 15, yeah? So fast forward 40 years, and I'm working for a German company called Porsche, or Porsche, I think you might call it here. And I launched Porsche in India. So I started in Delhi 2 years, learned Hindi, went to Chennai for 2 years, and then it was Mumbai. And my partner, Sue, she had to leave the country every 6 months to renew her visa. So we thought, okay, we'll go to Sri Lanka, which is an island off the bottom, used to be called Ceylon. And we went there, we were staying in a hotel, first afternoon, went down to the beach to have a swim, and all the beds were taken. And there was a lady with one of the beds there. We said, "Can we leave our clothes on here?" And she said, "Yeah, sure." She said, "My husband's swimming." So went in, swam, got back, went over, chatted with them, and they said, "Join us for dinner tonight." So we sat, and we're having dinner with them and chatting away, and we had a few beers. And I said, what do you do for a living? And he ran an industrial cleaning company. They go and clean factories and whatever. So a few more beers, and we have a wee dram of whiskey or something. And then we start talking about our early lives. And he'd been the trainee of the year for John Lewis. And to cut a long story short, he was the guy 40 years before that I'd served with on the ship. And on the first morning, we'd both done the 2 bells watch. And that was the same guy. Thank you.
Oh, wow. That's wow. Wow. More wow, right? You can do better than that. But what I like about that story is that it shows at the same time how wide the world is, but at the same time how small it is. That, it's that old thing out of all the bars in all the world, she walked into mine. But I think, like Casablanca. And I think that that's one of the things that storytelling does. It brings people together. It makes them see that fundamentally we are all the same. We all have the same kind of responses to things. And we may eat different food, believe different things, live in different ways, but emotionally and fundamentally we are all the same kind of people. Now, do I have any other takers for story? Anybody? A song, a poem? Anybody? Anyone? Yes. Oh, round of applause. Come on, Alote. Come on. Way.
So my name is Anoti, and I'm inspired to tell this story because of the young people here who, like to experiment, like our genius. That's not a genius over there. So I was around 8, 9 at the time, and I had a cousin, Peter, his name, and his dad uses tobacco. So it's a kind of tobacco that you put it in his mouth. He'll stay there he'll be talking, he'll be doing all those sort of things, but to be there. Then sometimes later he would go spit it out. So this was the flood season in my place called Ibirini in Delta State. We live on the bank of a river, a small river called Ase Creek. So from September to October and early November like this, the height of the flood. So you could only move from one spot to the other with a canoe, you paddle with her. So, there was a particular day he sent us to go and buy this tobacco for him. So we'll paddle like from here to, let's say, Federal Palace Hotel, for instance, to go and paddle a canoe. Yes, so, Peter and I get into this small boat and we paddle down there to buy the tobacco. So after buying it, we're not coming back. But we thought to ourselves, come on, what is in this thing that these adults always, enjoying? Let's test a little bit of it and see how it felt. And that was our undoing. So we take pinches, put it in our mouth, and swallows it. Yes. And we pass out in the canoe. So we could swim, because this is our house. You just walk a few steps. There's a river. So as children from 3, 4, 5, you can swim and you can do all sorts of things, Then nobody teaches you. You just do it because the water is there. But we pass out inside the canoe. Our paddle was inside the canoe. One fell into the water, and the canoe was just flowing down the river. So the current had taken us past Peter's parents' place where we ought to stop, and come down and deliver this message. From here towards CMS, we've gone that far. And somebody spots us who knows the canoe. So, is that not Peter's dad's canoe? So he paddles and gets there and sees 2 of us. He carries water and splashes on us. Where are we? And what are you doing? Our senses come back to us. Oh, in fact, I can't begin to tell you the beating we got that day.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I've been told time up. So I'm going to ask Ambassador to just please come and close. Close. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So before he comes up, I just want to say, give yourselves, please, a round of applause. You've been a wonderful audience. And a round of applause for all of them who came to speak.
Thank you, Aduke. Thank you, everybody. Brilliant poem, brilliant story, brilliant accidental genius blowing up things. Don't try that at home. We don't want to hear about that at next year's. I was inspired from what Delhi said, and I went out and got some headbutting people on sailing ships across the world. 40 years, that's not bad, Stanley. You remembered each other 40 years later. There you go. No, you're perfectly fine. I don't know how Richard got away without doing anything tonight. Next time, Richard. But I want to say thank you very much, and a great job for Aduke. Please give a big thanks to Aduke.
Oh, hey, thank you. Okay, so thank you very much, and I'll hand over to Jaman for the next bit of the program.
Yeah, thank you very much. So we are having a performance coming up right now, I want to introduce to the stage Bolanle Stephen at TTB as Aduni Al.